Welcome to Mishna study with Masechet Peah Perek Daf Mishnah Yud. Over here, we're moving on to another topic. So for the first 4.5 Perachim in our Masechet, we spoke about Peah, which was the corner of the field that we need to leave for the Ani. Now we're moving on to Leket. Leket is going to be, most simply put, we'll say that if a person is harvesting, he's cutting his wheat, and a couple of stalks fall, and we'll see how it has to fall. That's what our Mishnah is going to focus on. They fall out of his hand. He drops them on the floor. Is he allowed to pick them up? No. We say he needs to now leave these stalks for the aniyim that are going to come and collect these few grains that he dropped. So that's what leket is. From now, next perek, we're going to speak about leket and all the laws that apply to it. So again, even though our Masechet is called Masechet Peah, now we're really moving on to a new topic called Leket. Ezehu Leket. Hanosher b'sh'at ha'kesira. Haya koser, kasar melo yado, talash melo kumso, hikaw ha'kotz v'nafal miyado al ha'aretz, הרי של בעל הבית. תוך היד ותוך המגל לעניים. אחר היד ואחר המגל לבעל הבית. ראש היד וראש המגל, רבי ישמעאל אומר לעניים, רבי עקיבא אומר לבעל הבית. So firstly, what is leket? What is it? So it's what falls, right? It falls at the time of harvest. Right? It falls out of his hand at the time of harvest. And now the Mishnah is going to elaborate. He was cutting, he was harvesting his field, and katzam elo yado. He went ahead and he grabbed, a handful to harvest, or he uprooted it. Talash melo kumtso. He went ahead and he uprooted it. Melo kumtso, a fistful. And what happened? If he would have dropped it from within his hand, as we'll see the latter half of the Mishnah, that's considered leket. But what happened over here? He got pricked by a thorn, and that caused him to drop it. Now all of a sudden everything, a few grains fell from his hand and onto the ground. That belongs to Ba'al Habayit. That does not belong to the Aniyim. He was Anus, right? It was out of his control totally, and therefore what he dropped belongs to him. It doesn't belong to the Aniyim. Now, standard case, if it's in his hand, or if it's within the sickle, right? So you have the sickle, like sickles, this what they would use to cut. It was like this, C-shaped blade. They would go ahead and they would slice and harvest the wheat. And if it was in that sickle and it fell from there, or if it was in his hand and it fell from within his hand, if that fell, that's the aniyim. That's the standard case of leket. Let's say it was behind the hand, right? It wasn't within his handful, right? It was on the outskirts of his hand, on the outside of his hand, or outside of the sickle, right? It got knocked over and it fell. That belongs to Ba'al Habayit, right? That does not belong to the aniyim. Now, rosh hayad v'rosh hamagal, if it was at the tip of the sickle, right? So inside the sickle, inside his hand belongs to the anihim. If it was outside his hand, outside the sickle, belongs to Ba'al Habayit. The mahloka now between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva, if it was at the tip of that sickle, right, or the tip of his hand, the tip of his fingertips, right? So it's not here, not there. How do we treat that? That's the mahloka between Rabbi Yishmael and Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yishmael says that belongs to aniyim, and Rabbi Akiva says that belongs to Ba'al Habayit. And halacha is like Rabbi Akiva.